everybody. Welcome to this week's assembly. I hope you're all well and I hope you're enjoying the sunny weather. It's a really beautiful day today, though it's a little bit chilly. It's the perfect sort of day to be grabbing a good book. And whether you're somebody who loves books and is a voracious reader or someone who's a bit more of a reluctant reader, we hope that this assembly will have something that will inspire you. Because we may be all locked up and tucked away at the moment, but books allow us to travel the world. We can go back in time, we can go back into the past and visit different places, or we can go forward into the future and imagine what life might be like in 100 years or even 1,000 years. We can go anywhere in our universe, right across the galaxy and explore distant worlds. We can even go into parallel universes and other worlds entirely. There's never been a better time to read a really amazing book, and I thought it'd be nice now to hear from members of staff about what they've been getting up to during this lockdown period and what they've been reading.
Hiya. I heard this week's assembly is all about books, and a lot of the teachers have taken pictures of themselves with some of their favourite books. Mr. Bull has asked me to do a short little video to talk about what my favourite book might be. And you might think that as a librarian, that would be an easy thing. But I've actually had quite a lot of favourite books over the years, because unsurprisingly, I do like reading. But I have a couple of them here, so I thought I would talk you through them. So one of the main ones, from when I was a teenager myself, was this book. Ober Newton by Isabel Carmody, who's an Australian author. For those of you who don't know, I am Australian. So it's not the easiest one to get a hold of here, though we do have copies in our library, should you wish to read it when we come back to school. But it is a dystopian novel set in a future where there has been sort of a big post-apocalyptic uprising and quite a lot of people were killed. And everyone is living under quite serious sort of religious authoritarian control. And some of the teenagers start to develop strange abilities and things that they can do with their mind, which is outlawed. So it's a story of what happens to some of the people living in this world and how they get together and fight against oppression and all those sorts of things. I was super obsessed because I first read it when I was 13. Still a very good book, so I do recommend Ober Newton, Isabel Carmody. She's a very good writer, especially if you like fantasy. She writes lots of interesting things set in sort of alternative kinds of worlds. And the other one that I have to talk to you about is one that is a favourite from when I was an adult. So it is The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. It has possibly one of the best first pages of a book I've read. I really like the story, and there's also a movie adaptation which is very good as well. But it's a story about mothers and daughters and immigrating to different countries and all the secrets that families can have and working your way through that. So it's very good. It's not a fantasy book. It's got much more drama and much more family issues. But I do highly recommend that one as well. I have been watching Overdrive and seeing that lots of you are borrowing books. Would encourage you to all get the Sora app and start downloading some more. There's lots of really good things available, including some popular stuff that you might get out if you are actually still at school at the moment. So I hope you're all well, and that's my little bit about my favourite books. Thank you.
Hello, Burntwood students. I have to say I'm missing you all. There's not so many things to laugh about when you're stuck at home with your daughter. So I hope you're all well and your families too. And for those of you who are celebrating Ramadan, a particular greeting. We've been asked to say what we're reading at the moment, so I'm going to show you the book that I'm reading. I particularly like poetry because you can dip in and dip out. And if you can't concentrate very much, or you can, have a look around. Anyway, I thought I'd read a very short one to you because it seemed to be particularly relevant in this times of ours. It's called Who's In by a lady called Elizabeth Fleming. The door is shut fast and everyone's out, but people don't know what they're talking about. Say the flowers on the wall and the flame on the coals and the dog on his rug and the mice in their holes, and the kittens curled up, and the spiders that spin. What, everyone's out? Why, everyone's in. Take care, girls. See you soon. Bye.
Morning, Betwood. Hope you're well. So here is my book recommendation. It's called Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. The reason I really like it is that it has lots and lots of different characters. So there are about 10 different female black characters, and all of their lives are in some way intertwined. So it's very circular. It keeps on coming back to different characters that you've heard of earlier in the story. The reason I really like it, I guess, is just because of that reason, that there's so many different characters to explore, and they're all incredibly different, from really kind of outspoken, almost quite extreme characters to much kind of more introverted, quieter characters. Some of them you really kind of empathise with, and you feel like you understand, and others they're so different to you, it makes them that much more interesting. It was the Booker Prize winner last year, and in fact it jointly won it with Margaret Atwood's follow-up to Handmaid's Tale, so that's the next one on my list. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Thanks, bye.
Hi Bentwood, I hope you're all keeping well and safe and reading lots in lockdown. I want to recommend to you today My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinka Braithwaite. I'm going to read you the blurb. When Corridee's dinner is interrupted one night by a distress call from her sister, she knows what's expected of her. Bleach, rubber gloves, nerves of steel and a strong stomach. This will be the third boyfriend that Ayoola has dispatched in self-defence, and the third mess that her lethal little sibling has left Corridee to clear away. She should probably go to the police for the good of the menfolk of Nigeria, but she loves her sister, and as they say, family always comes first. When I first read this book, I read it in one sitting, cover to cover. It is funny, it is addictive, and I think, especially if you're in year 9 or above, you will love My Sister the Serial Killer. It is available on Sora. All you need to do is download the Sora app. Your username is the same as the one that you use on the school computers, and your password is your birthday in the date, month, year format. So it's available on Sora. Download Sora and get reading My Sister the Serial Killer now. Stay safe.
Hi, this is Miss Juncker and this is my daughter Helena. Some of you might recognise her from my classroom from the pictures. So we are here today to tell you about a book that I recently read. It's actually Helena's book, which I got for her 5 years ago. Helena, why did you want me to buy you the book?
I liked the front cover because it was drawn by an author that wrote one of my favourite series.
Which is called Chris Riddle, and he wrote the Goth Girl series. Now, Helena actually hasn't read the book, have you?
No.
No. Initially it was because it looked too scary, and then it was because
I couldn't be bothered.
you couldn't be bothered. So, in the last 2 months I have actually read the book, and I have to say it's probably one of my favourite books that I've read in the last 5 years. It's partly a gothic, historical murder mystery, and at the centre is a girl who is interested in science. She's the daughter of a reverend who is a bit like Charles Darwin, but who also believes that girls really shouldn't be studying science and that they're not equal to boys. He sadly gets killed round about page 15, and then it's up to our heroine called Faith to find out who killed him. Like I said, it's one of the best books I have read in the last 5 years, and if you've ever sat in my classroom, that means quite a lot. Helena, are you going to now go and read this?
Maybe.
Maybe. Possibly that means no, because we are going to be watching the reruns of Friends for the 7th time, quite possibly. Anyway, give this a try, The Light Tree, and I promise you won't regret it.
Hello Burntwood. The book I'm going to recommend is this book. It's called Three Men in a Boat, and it's by an author called Jerome K. Jerome. And I suppose the unusual thing about this is it's a comedy written over 100 years ago, but for me it's still absolutely hilarious. It's about 3 guys who decide to take a trip up the River Thames in a boat, and it's the adventures, or I should say the misadventures, that befall them on their journey. Everything from trying to open a tin of peaches without a can opener, to getting lost on the way back from a restaurant in a local town and not being able to find their boat in the dead of night. All sorts of funny stories. I love it, I've read it and I've reread it, and I heartily recommend it. 3 Men in a Boat. So, hope that's inspired you to get reading if you're not already. What we'd really love is to see what you're reading. So, if you can, take a picture of yourself with the book that you'd recommend to your friends and your fellow students, and send it through to sharinghappy@burntwoodschool.com. We'll put it up on the website so everyone can have a look and everyone can get inspired by what it is you've chosen to read. That's it for now. Take care of yourselves and your family, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.